Hey guys, it's Cami with Timberlane Studio, and today I'm sharing with you the story about how I got my business started. And the reason I'm sharing it is because as I'm recording this is the 5th anniversary of my grandfather's death. Now, that sounds very sad, but without him, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. And I think it's important that I honor his memory and kind of just share with you why it's so important. So my grandfather, Gordon A. Philibeck, was born on December 21st, 1934 in Menominee, Michigan, to John and Gertrude Philibeck, who were farmers, and he had 3 brothers, and it was a big family farm. And then he married my grandma, Faye, and together they had 6 children, one of which is my mom, and they worked that farm as a family for many, many years until he couldn't do it anymore, because it's a physical, very demanding type of job. If you know any farmer out there, give them a high five, buy their milk, buy their cheese. They work harder than I think anybody can even imagine. Now, I bring about the importance of him being a farmer because throughout my life, he taught me the importance of hard work and getting up before the sun rises to get in on your day and make hay while the sun shines and all that. And obviously, him being my grandfather, he taught my mom that too. So it's been passed down through generations. And that type of work ethic has really kind of helped me along with this business. Now, my grandfather was a loud guy. He had this big booming voice. I always have very fond memories of him shouting from the barn up to my grandmother or shouting at my uncles to help him in the barn. But I mean, I was real small when this was all happening, but I still remember it like it was yesterday, so it really left an impact on me. But he was also the kind of guy that would talk to anybody. He would always strike up a conversation with people, and he'll go on and on. He was a great guy to have a conversation with. But back to how he was integral in starting my business. So obviously I'm known for creating the copper feathers, but after his death, I was having a hard time dealing with his absence because I would literally call them like once to twice a week just to talk with them and chat with them, and it was sad to not hear him on the other end of the line. As you know, when you lose someone important to you, you have that emptiness that's there. So I would go for these long walks looking for signs. Now, because he was a farmer, I live in the country, so walking by the barns, walking through on country roads by cornfields and wheat fields and alfalfa fields, and then seeing cows, it was familiar, and it made me feel happy. Like I felt like he was kind of with me, but I was always looking for something more for whatever reason. And I was looking for cardinals. I love birds, so I was looking for cardinals. I wasn't seeing any cardinals. And then I started looking for dragonflies, and I wasn't finding any dragonflies either. But on these long walks that I would take, I was finding feathers everywhere. And it wasn't like a feather. It was like several feathers. And they were of all different types of species of birds. And I am a huge nerd when it comes to like birding. I like to go out and identify birds. I like to listen to bird song and like see if I can identify the type of bird that I'm hearing. So when I'm collecting these feathers, it's kind of satisfying my like nerd heart, like, oh, what is this feather from this bird? And I had like amassed this collection, so much so that it was almost obnoxious how many I had. Now my husband thought it was gross because some of them were dirty, but I cleaned them up. But I thought they were quite beautiful. I thought they were neat. Well, one day one of my friends just popped in to say hi, and she came up to my creative little area that I was working in, and she's like, what's going on with all these feathers? What are you making? And I'm like, oh, nothing really. I thought maybe I'll put them in a shadow box or whatever. And she's like, where are you finding them? I said, well, I go out on these walks and I think about my grandfather because, you know, I miss him and I get sad. And she's like, you do know what this means, don't you? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's like, the feathers are from your grandfather. A feather appears when an angel is near. And when she said that, it hit me like a load of bricks. I was like, oh, I had never heard that saying before, and I instantly felt like just a wash of peace come over me, because she literally told me, like, your grandfather is shouting at you that he's walking alongside you and you shouldn't be sad. So I thought that was an amazing thing, because I was like, I had no clue. And here I am collecting these gifts from the heavens, and I think they're beautiful. So I, of course, started sketching, drawing, painting all these feathers because I just love them so much, and it was very special to me. And I went to visit my dad one day, and he's a craftsman, an amateur craftsman, and he makes these beautiful birdhouses that have copper roofs with copper pennies over them. Picture of one right now. But he had a roll of copper flashing in his workshop, and I took one look at it, and I felt like this sense that like I need to take this home with me. I said, hey Dad, can I have some of this copper? And he's like, yeah, take the roll. So it was like maybe 3 feet long by 6 inches wide, and I immediately took it home and I started playing around with it, cutting shapes out. I started hammering it. My uncle is a blacksmith in Texas, so I had a couple phone conversations with him, like, oh, what can I do with this? And he kind of gave me some ideas. But the more I started tinkering with it, the more I was like, I can make a feather out of this copper, and how cool would that be? So I devised a method to create almost a 3D sculpture out of a 2D piece of metal, and I made a bunch of them and I posted them on Instagram, and I got a big response like almost instantly, like, those are beautiful, can I buy one? And I was like, well, I just started making these, I don't know, we'll see. So, because at the time I was doing the art fair circuit, but I was using my graphic design skills and drawing skills to sell stuff, and I look back on that and I'm like, oh my God. Embarrassing, but everybody starts somewhere. So I started creating these copper feathers, and I started mounting them on reclaimed pieces of wood, because I thought a very simple presentation would be, they would make a lovely like gift or piece that you could just hang in your home. And then I started selling them at my craft fairs, and the response I got was overwhelmingly positive in the fact that people would come in and have an immediate connection with these mounted feathers. And it was one of these, as an artist, when you're creating something, you're trying to communicate without using words, something, somehow, whether it just be like the love of nature, or if you're trying to communicate on social injustices, or if you're trying to communicate your feelings. Artists are nonverbal communicators. Visual artists are nonverbal communicators. So when I had people come in and start responding to these in ways that were not just surface, it wasn't like, oh, this is really pretty. It was, oh my God, I needed to see this today. This feather reminds me of my daughter who passed away. Or, oh my gosh, this is a blue feather. My dad loved blue jays. This reminds me of him. A lot of it was a lot of customers who were coming in, and they were either on the heels of loss, who were in the really deep drags of grief, and being able to connect to those people, because I was also kind of there. It was healing on, I think, both ends, I can say. So to have that kind of connection with other people without knowing who they are as people, without being introduced, they just walk in and they see something that I made and instantly have a connection. It was a gift, I have to say, and it's been a gift ever since, because I took that and now have created a business around feathers, and it's been an amazing journey. And not only that, but I am somebody who loves to share my knowledge and skill set, so it's translated into teaching workshops and helping others foster their own creative needs. And it has been probably one of the biggest joys that I've had in my life, and it was all because I lost my grandfather. So I'm making this video as a thanks to him for kind of guiding me on this path, because I still will go back and say some prayers like, oh, am I doing the right thing? And I always kind of fall back on him. He's like my little guardian angel, watching over me and making sure I'm doing the right thing, and I'm working hard, and getting out there and getting up early and working hard all day and going to bed at night exhausted and tired but satisfied. So I just wanted to make this and let you guys know how awesome he was. So if I've met you through a workshop, or if you've purchased a piece of art of mine, or if you have purchased a piece of art in one of my many different retailers that I sell to, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for letting me create. And know that when you purchase something from me, that it is more than just a piece of copper on a piece of wood. It's actually something that comes deep from in my heart, and I hope you love it. So thanks for listening to my story and following me on my creative journey.